Hi guys, so today I'm going to do a book review video, and I think I haven't done one of these in ever. So I have two different series of books, and then I have one book that I just finished. So I'm going to get right started. I'm going to get started on the first series that I read, and it was an Amish series. And I got this series at a flea market. So I got the whole series at a flea market. And it's by Wanda Brunstetter, and it's The Daughters of Lancaster County. There's only 3 books in the series. All of them have either close to 40 chapters or 40 chapters and above. And the chapters are really short in all of them. So the first book in the series is The Storekeeper's Daughter, and this is what it looks like. It's not really like the most eye-catching cover, but I like it. It's not that eye-catching, but then it's sort of like springy, you know what I mean? I don't know, you guys. So, in this book, what happens is there's this family, it's the Fisher family, and their mother/wife died. An English person ran her over in a car accident, and she died. So then Naomi's the oldest daughter, I think. And I think she's the oldest out of all of her siblings. So her dad makes her take care of all her brothers and sisters and the store where she works at that they own. And she doesn't really like it because her dad doesn't really appreciate her. He never says thank you or anything. He always blames her and compares her to her mom. And then something shocking happens in this book. And it happens in the middle of this book. And I can't really tell you what happens. Maybe I could. So in English, it has 2 separate stories. It's about the Amish, and then it's about this English couple, just like regular people like us. And they can't have any kids. And every time they try to adopt a kid, it falls through, or the person doesn't want to give up their kids or whatever. So it's like those 2 sort of things intertwined together. So that's what happens in that book. And the chapters are really short. Some of them are really long, but they're really short, and they don't have that many characters in it. It's just 2 separate stories that get combined into one. So that was the first one. So the second book in the series is called The Quilter's Daughter, and this is what it looks like. I don't know if I can do it this way so you guys can see it better like this. So this book is the second book in Lancaster, Daughters of Lancaster County book. And the second one was good. And what happens is in the first book, Naomi's dad, he's a widow, like I said, and he meets this from what the shocking thing happens, he meets this woman, and she's an Amish woman, and she runs a quilting store. And they sort of get together in the second book. This first book. And then in the second book, they're married, and then she has a daughter from a previous relationship because she's also a widow. I think her name's Fanny. Not the daughter, the mother/new wife to Naomi's father. And she has a daughter, her name's Abby. So Abby runs the store, and she gets a letter saying that her mom is pregnant with not with twins yet, but is pregnant, but she is pregnant with twins. And she get these letters saying how her mom's having a rough time of it and everything, because her mom's 40 or 50 or something, so it's kind of really a shock that she was pregnant in the first place. So yeah, so then she moves to Lancaster County to help her mom out before the babies are born and after. And then her husband-to-be died in a fire at her quilting store, so that's how it's becomes it. And then at the end, it just continues on, and at the end, it talks about, the English people are still back, and the English people come back at the end of the book with some sad news that takes place in the third book, and the third book is called The Bishop's Daughter, and this is what it looks like. So this one, I think her name's Leona, I think that's how you say her name, I'm not really sure, but Leona is the bishop's daughter, if you can't already guess. And her dad, what happens is her dad gets into an accident. He does painting. He paints barns and everything, stuff like that. And he falls off a ladder, really high ladder, and then he falls unconscious. And then when he wakes up, he doesn't know who his daughter is. He thinks that his wife is his mother. He thinks his daughter is his sister, stuff like that. And she hasn't really had a love interest. And then what happens is that she falls in love with an English kid who used to be Amish. And then they fall in love at the end and they get married and stuff like that. So it's a cute ending to this book. I thought that these books were really, really good. I thought that, it had a lot of suspense in it because there's one storyline in this book that goes on forever until the series ends. And it was more like, oh my god, when is this going to happen? When is this going to happen in this book? When are they going to get reunited? And everything. So I can't really tell you what the shocking thing is that happens in it because then it would ruin the whole book for you guys. So you're just going to have to read it. You probably can get these on Kindle or at a bookstore, but I just got these at a flea market, so I don't really know where else you can get these books. So the next series I have, I didn't finish the series yet. I'm on the last book in the series, but I had to do a book review on this one. So this is a V.C. Andrews series, and there's 5 books in the series. I only have 4 of them, and it's the Landry series. So let's just get started. These books all have, the first one has 21 chapters, the second one I think has 18 chapters, the third one has 17, I think, and I think the last one I read had 16 chapters in it, and the 5th one that I'm reading now has 15 chapters in it. So the first book is called Ruby, and that's what it looked like. And Ruby is this girl who she lives in the bayou in Louisiana with her grandmother. I think she calls them grandmere or something. I think that's how you say in French or something. So anyway, her mother died when she gave birth to her. So she lives in the bayou with her grandmother. And what happens is she learns some secrets along the way about her past. And here her grandmother always said, if something happens to me, you have to go find your family and move out of the bayou. So she found her father, and then she realizes that she has a twin sister. And then she tells, I think her dad tells a story about why she didn't know she had twin sisters. So I think her dad told her that about how it happened, or I think her grandmother did, I'm not really sure, before she died, I think she told her. So yeah, so that's what happens, and then her sister Giselle, I think that's how you say her name, she gets Ruby into lots of trouble with their stepmother, but the thing is they're complete opposites. Ruby is the bayou Cajun girl, and then her sister Giselle is the spoiled brat sort of girl. So yeah, so that's how it starts out in this book. I can't really tell you anything else because it would just ruin the book. But that's hard because V.C. Andrews' books, you can't really tell a lot of what happens because then you'll just give something away. So Ruby was the first book in the series. I got these at flea markets. All these books came from flea markets, so you guys know. So the second book is called Pearl in the Mist, and this is what it looks like. I really liked this cover better. I just think blue and purple go together good, I guess you could say. So the second book, it's still with Ruby, Giselle, and her dad. I think her dad's name is Pierre. And what happens is her stepmother, Daphne, she did stuff in the first book. She made Ruby go to an institution and get institutionalized and everything. So what happens is Daphne does not like these girls because they're not her kids. They're Ruby and Giselle's father's kids and not her kids at all. They're not biologically hers. So what happens is their mother decides that they have to go to a private boarding school because she is not like these two girls. So she gets their dad to go on board with it, and they go to, I think it's Greenwood. And there they get into loads of trouble. Ruby meets the mistress's nephew, and then she gets pregnant in it. Stepmother wanted her to get rid of it. She wanted her to get an abortion, and Ruby did not want to get an abortion at all. So she moved back to the Bayou, and then Paul is her half brother, but Paul is actually her first lover in this series. It's in the first book too, and he helps her give birth to her daughter Pearl. So that's where Pearl comes in this book. So the third book in the series is called All That Glitters, and this is what it looks like. This book is a little bit more complicated. So what happens is Paul's trying to get Paul becomes like a millionaire because they found oil on his acreage that his dad gave him, because his dad owns like a canning factory and he's really rich. So Paul is in the middle of building and then finishes building Cypress Woods. And it's this huge mansion and everything. But what happens is Ruby had her baby Pearl, and Paul's trying so hard to get Ruby to marry him and everything. So finally it happens, but she still falls in love. She's still in love with her second love, Paul, that she met when she moved to New Orleans. New Orleans is where her dad lives and everything. So it goes back and forth between the Bayou and New Orleans throughout the whole series. So what happens is they get married, but they made rules where, like, they're not going to have sex together because then that would be sinful and everything, because they're half brother and sister, her and Paul. Her and Paul. So her second boyfriend that she loves and she misses is Beau. And what happens is Beau finds out that she married her half brother Paul, and he decides to return to Europe because that's where he fled after all the stuff happened about her getting pregnant and everything. So he moves back to marry her sister Giselle. And then what happens is then Giselle gets really sick. Like, I don't know if it's like crazy sick or like, I don't know. But she falls into this coma. And they came up with an idea, like Paul, Beau, and Ruby, that Ruby would go live with Paul. Ruby would go live with Paul and pretend to be Giselle, and then Giselle would be trying to be Ruby. So that's what happened, because Paul really knew that Ruby wanted to be with Beau. So anyway, her sister dies in the book, and nobody knows that they trade places or anything, so it's a big secret. So what happens is nobody believes that she's Ruby anymore, because people think, oh, she's still Giselle. So she has to try to get people to know who she is, because then something happens with her and Pearl and Paul. I think it's Paul. No, I don't know. I think it's either Beau's or Paul's mother gets involved in it. So that's what happens. So you have to read that book to figure out what happens. Then she gets pregnant at the end with twins, and then she gives birth to them at the end of this book. So the second to last book in the series that I've read is called Hidden Jewel. And this is what it looks like. So Hidden Jewel takes place when Pearl is 18 years old. And what happens is a curse falls on the family. And it's just Ruby, Beau, and Jean and Pierre. Those were the twins that Ruby had, and then in the third book. So what happens is a curse lands on the family, and it's sort of like voodoo curse, stuff like that. And her mother has to fix it. So her mother tries to fix it, and then stuff keeps happening. One of the twins dies in it, and then the other twin gets into a depressed state, in a coma state. So then their mother leaves, and then Pearl goes on the journey to find her. So that's basically what that book's about. That's basically it. So that book was really, it was sort of good, but it really wasn't that good. It really wasn't that good. The ones that I like in the series so far are the second and third books, because they have more, shock value than the last one does. Because the last one is sort of, wrapping up the whole family thing, and then the 5th book is a prequel book, so it's before these books were this was before these books were made, but it really wasn't because she wrote it after she wrote these books, I think. Anyway, so the last book I have is R.L. Stine, and R.L. Stine, if you don't know, I remember growing up reading R.L. Stine's books, like Goosebumps and stuff like that. So I got this book at a flea market, and I just got it because, I don't know, I just got it to read it. And it's like sort of like a little kid sort of book, but I just wanted to read it. I don't know why. I just got it because I'm like, I used to like R.L. Stine, so it's sort of like a throwback book, and today's Thursday, so it's like Throwback Thursday. So the chapters there's only 29 chapters, and the words are really big in it. Like, this is what the words look like. They're really big. And this book is really good. It's called R.L. Stine Call Waiting, and this is what it looks like. So basically what happens is it's this girl named Karen, and her and her boyfriend are like having a bad spat because she thinks that her boyfriend's cheating on her with this girl. So what happens is she's getting these phone calls saying that somebody's trying to is gonna come and attack her or something like that. So she gets really scared and everything. So that's basically what this book's about. And then at the end of the book, she finds out who's really calling her and everything. So it only took me an hour to read. I just read this book today, and it only took me an hour to read. So it's not that, the chapters are really short in it. And it's probably a good book for, if you want to start your kids out on reading and stuff like that. So those were all of the books that I've read for the month of June/July, or maybe probably just July. Yeah, just July. So comment below and tell me your favorite books for the month of July. Please subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time with another video, and hope you guys have a wonderful day.